Delighted to welcome Harry Cheng, who's President and Representative Director of Ladita Limited. And we have Danny Chu, the Representative Director of Mirai Inc. And Yoshiko Ikoma, who's a fashion journalist and art producer. And the moderator today, Managing Director of A.T. Kearney Japan, is Takaki Umezawa. I hope I said that right.
Thank you.
Okay, pass over.
Well, thank you very much for coming and joining the discussion amid the very tough competition. This session presents probably the most edgy people as panelists. The panel will discuss some beautiful or interesting or maybe sexy or maybe weird things about Japan. So please enjoy. Before giving quick introductions of the panelists, I'd like to give you a brief introduction of the government initiative and why we are doing this. It is actually related to the government growth strategy METI is driving. METI's discussion around this topic, Cool Japan, started in early 2010 as part of the broader the nation's growth strategy like this. And Minister Furukawa described the growth strategy this morning. And it looks slightly different, but it has all the same contents as the minister explained this morning. METI, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, developed the long-term strategy called Industrial Structure Vision 2010 in view of several factors such as world population growth and growing affluent Asian consumers, and increasing needs for energy and infrastructure and a greener economy, a shrinking market and aging population in the domestic Japan market, and also increasing globalization of traditional manufacturing sectors and needs for new growth sectors and domestic job creation. So you may see the bottom line, this strategy is actually quite aggressive in saying that generating 80 trillion yen in additional demand in 10 years. And Cool Japan is really a part of it, and it's an initiative between the government and private sector, including people like the panelists, to develop Japan's creative industries and promote them, particularly in the global market, and covering a broad range of sectors and contents from food, contents, fashion, art, design, and crafts, and inbound tourism as well. METI and my firm, A.T. Kearney, started working on developing the initial hypothesis in early 2010. And in late 2010, the government set up a panel called Private Public Expert Panel on Creative Industries, which included Ikoma-san as well. The panel was chaired by METI Minister, then Mr. Kaiyeda, as well as Fukuhara-san of Shiseido, including 18 distinguished creators and business producers from the private field. And the initiative, looking at the 10-year horizon, has the objectives of establishing the Japan brand, as well as increasing its soft power, and aims at aggressive target of increasing business volume in overseas market by approximately 10 trillion yen by 2020. So, in essence, it is Fukoku Kyogei, the people who attended the morning session about soft power, panelists described that way, Fukoku Kyogei, enriching the country by strengthening art. In essence, the Cool Japan is that. and it is creating a new growth sector in Japan by linking Japanese creative industries with the world. So I'm going to give a very quick introduction to the three panelists and then give the microphone to each of them. First, Mr. Danny Chu in the center. He is based in Tokyo and the famous, very famous guru of Japan's pop culture and otaku culture. You see a small doll figure there. Probably he's gonna explain his lover later. He's really a walking billboard of anime or dolls and even ninja culture. And sometimes he is walking around in Akiba with a stormtrooper to guard Akihabara. Mr. Harry Chen, he's one of the most active cross-border business person, as well as cultural ambassador between Japan, India, and Singapore. He was born in Japan, naturalized Japanese citizen, but he has spent quite many years in London as well, working there. And right now he's working to export Japanese variety of contents such as food, drinks, and media contents from Japan to India, correct? And Ikoma-san is one of the best fashion journalists and art producer Japan has, linking Japan and the world for so many years. She used to be the editor-in-chief of Marie Claire Japan, and before then, she worked as deputy editor-in-chief for Elle Japan and Vogue Japan, so all the famous world-leading fashion magazines. And right now, as a journalist, she covers a broad range of topics including fashion, art, lifestyle, ethical issues, ecology issues, and so on. So I'm gonna give it to the Danny-san first. Then he's going to talk about what he has been doing and his ideas about promoting Japan. So basically the first question to all of you is how much potential do we have and what have you been doing on that?
All right, so I'm going to talk about what I'm doing right now, is that right? All right. Okay, my name is Danny Chu, originally born and raised in the UK, came to Japan about 12 years ago, worked in the internet for a while before I left to start up my own business, where I run a little small company called Mirai. And there, basically what I do is I spread Japanese culture to the world. So I've got this website up over here called Culture Japan. It's in Japanese, English, Spanish, and Chinese at the moment. And I cover all aspects of Japanese culture. So like daily life in Japan, what you need to do to buy a house in Japan, what you need to do to get a driver's license, and what's it like to have a health test in Japan. So lots of things for people who are thinking of living in Japan, and lots of things for people who want to live in Japan as well. And there's lots of, if we have a look at the next slide, I can't remember what these next slides are. So I go around taking photos of pretty much everything. I try not to take the camera into the toilet in case I take something which I shouldn't. And so this is a picture that I took very recently in Osaka. So I love taking and sharing pictures of Japan. So over here we've got some, I cover lots of traditional Japanese events. So in the summer and autumn, there's lots of Japanese festivals as well. So lots of traditional Japan. And of course, Japan's otaku culture. So it's like anime culture, figures, manga, and so on and so on. I have a TV show called Culture Japan, which is currently in its second season on Tokyo MX TV every night at 10:30. And it's basically an extension of my website. So I introduce Japanese culture, traditional culture, and so on and so on. So this is actually broadcast around the world. So this is an ad for the Hong Kong version, and it's broadcast across Asia and across America as well. And so these are just some of the companies which I work with. So Good Smile Company, Bushi Road, Konami, Kadokawa Shoten, King Records, and ASCII Media Works. So most of these folks, they basically produce lots of Japanese media, like anime, publishing, figures, card games, and so on and so on. So I help them disseminate information about their products and services throughout the world by building web solutions for them. So all of these sites are they like have an English version as well, which makes it easy for like folks around the world to consume their content and eventually pay up for it, pay up for their stuff. I talk with I travel the world and I speak at many different conferences. So this year, for example, I was a speaker for Dentsu at the France, what's it called? The International Advertising Festival, and I go around talking about Japanese culture. And I go around also holding events as well. So this is an event in Anime Expo, America's largest anime event, where I go along and I talk about my mascot character, Mirai-chan. So this is my mascot character. She looks after my website. And she's more popular overseas rather than in Japan. And she helps me disseminate information about Japanese culture throughout the world. So over here we have some cosplayers dressing up as Mirai-chan from all over the world. Okay. And this is an anime title which I'm working on called Mirai Millennium. And Mirai-chan will also be helping me teach the world Japanese through anime contents. So that's what I do.
What countries have particularly strong appetite for your contents?
So I mean, I have like readers like all over the world. I have like roughly 2 million unique users a month. Most of the users actually come from the US, but a particularly strong presence in Asia. But then it's like Europe. It really pretty much is all over the world, really.
Does it differ by category?
Not really. Not really. No. I think like my readers, they really do enjoy like anime, manga, Japanese otaku culture, and there's lots of folks who learn about my contents through the photos I take. So I upload my photos to Flickr, and there's lots of camera geeks out there, and they discover Japan through my photos. And then when they come to my website, they discover all the other cool stuff about Japan as well.
By the way, his website, Culture Japan, has probably the greatest traffic from overseas looking for information about what's cool about Japan. So, Ikoma-san, can you introduce yourself and show your activities?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Yoshiko Ikoma. As Mr. Umezawa introduced, I've been working for fashion field for over 20 years, and I've been visiting Paris, Milan collection mainly. And I've been producing international magazines like Vogue, Elle, Marie Claire. But I'm now independent, so I cover not just fashion, but art, organic issue, such age, so ethical issue, and even to a Cool Japan issue, because I've been joining the Cool Japan conference as a committee, one of a committee, for over a year. And here, I would like to introduce a few of my inspirations, which I feel strongly Cool Japan. What's Cool Japan in fashion and art? Okay. Okay. Here, first choice was Comme des Garçons. Do you know Comme des Garçons? Everybody, it's very famous, popular. It's a Tokyo brand, started early 80s from Paris, and it's in a very avant-garde brand, but has a really strong business strategy these days. So they have a big tower, Comme des Garçons tower in Korea and in China as well. So they are doing a really good business, and very challenging, very new ideas, full of new ideas by Rei Kawakubo. So this is, I think this is really Cool Japan, and combining a creativity and a business. Okay. I'm not good at handling. This is the new brand Sakai. Do you know? Maybe very few knows this, but this is a top, Tokyo female fashion designer, and her fashion is, idea is really new, as combining the reality and fantasy at the same time. So many celebrities rushed to this boutique, and she set up a new boutique in Aoyama. And architecture was Sosuke Fujimoto, one of our top architects. And her collections are always, everybody adore, every girls adore these days. And having a really feminine idea, but at the same time, really, real idea at the same time. And Issey Miyake, maybe you know the story. Steve Jobs, black turtleneck, shirts was designed by Issey, and he ordered Issey hundreds of it. You may know it. The other day I met Issey for the interview because I'm now doing a big special issue for BT, Bijutsu Techo. It's coming out at the 17th of November. And I did a big interview to him, and he showed me the one of a black turtle to me, a legendary one. And also the right one is his latest series brand called 1325, and it uses recycled polyester and with the algorithm. So he combines this kind of mathematical idea with the ecological idea. So this is his new message in the 21st century. And sorry, this is Uniqlo. Uniqlo, of course, everybody know, but their topic is the latest one is a big boutique in New York, and they are also very challenging brand. I think the collaboration with Jill Sander and their image strategy and also business strategy is really cool, I feel. Okay, sorry. And street fashion. Do you know all the fashion designers from all over the cities visit street fashion to check street fashion in Tokyo every season, officially and unofficially. So you can meet them on the street in Tokyo, from Dior to Chanel to Yves Saint Laurent. Every designer is checking enthusiastic. I'm sorry. ちょっとダメね。戻っちゃった。ごめんなさい。どうしたらいいの？Okay. Okay. So there's some internet magazine like called Style from Tokyo. It's getting popular. Okay. Okay. This is one of our coolest artists from Tokyo, Yayoi Kusama. She's really powerful, over 80. But she's now showing her latest piece in Pompidou. And this show goes to Tate Modern in the UK. So, her latest solo show is really big and really popular and has a, maybe she's the first Japanese artist who can show in such, I can't do it. Okay. And Sputniko is, sorry. Sputniko, maybe the new name for you. But she's a really young girl from Japan, but her father is British, and her mother is Japanese, and she's combining, mathematical idea and art, and really, a topic girl. And she showed recently in MoMA in New York and had a big hit. Yeah. And Junya Ishigami is one of our top young architects in Japan. His spirit is femininity and ecology. Though he's male, his design is really sensitive and feminine ideas, and also, very clean and sophisticated, architect. He showed his big installation in Venezia architecture event and had a big issue. Yes, in the cycle. Okay, this is the last one maybe. This is the project I'm producing now. WOW, called WOW. WOW means what means Japan, and O means rebirth. So rebirth of Japanese craftsmanship. So I would like to show the, very stylish craftsmanship and the luxury craftsmanship. And I organized a show in Tokyo last August, and I'm gonna bring this to Paris and New York next year, to show it to the foreign people. And I meet so many craftsmen in Japan, and they, need business anyway. So I hope, this kind of a new way of showing gonna be, industrialized or make business in the future. Yep. That's everything. Yeah. So one of my big topic is Cool Japan. Anyway, and I'm gonna tell later on that I've been waiting for it for over the year because I feel the big gap between situation in Japan and the situation outside Japan. Because many friends in the fashion field and art field asks me what's happening in Japan. I don't know where to make a contact to or access. So, I think we need to produce more the platform where, everybody can, make access, globally. So I'm very happy and feel exciting to joining, Cool Japan project. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. Harrison, how do you think about Japanese fashion in Indian market? Do you see a lot of potential?
I think it's huge potential. But before that, maybe how many people have been to India? Oh, very good. This is a very mezurashi kai. There's a lot of I do a lot of these talks.
It's G1 Global.
Yeah, that's probably why. But I'm very pleasantly surprised. But obviously, India is happening, and I think there's huge potential. We actually, Ikome-san and I were in India in 2000.
Mumbai.
Yeah, in 2010.
2010.
Yes, to a fashion show. So that was quite interesting. So yeah, huge potential.
And you're gonna have another fashion show in Mumbai, right? Delhi this year.
No, not this year, but the Mumbai.
Mumbai.
We showed 5 Tokyo designers' clothings.
Yeah.
And editor-in-chief of Vogue India and Elle India visited, and they said it's amazing. But but you have to think of size things.
Right.
You understand. So we have a different size in Japan and in India.
Right.
So when you want to promote in India, you have to think of size of fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to spend maybe 4 or 5 minutes to talk about what we've been up to. Danny, do you want to just pass that device? So, yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for coming today. My name is Harry Cheng, and thanks for Umezawa-san, everybody, for inviting. It's an honor to be part of this conference today. So, La Ditta in Italian, actually, the name La Ditta is in Italian. It means the company. So for those of you who can speak Japanese, it's Kabushiki Gaisha Kaisha is the name of our company. So basically, the reason why we set this up about 5 years ago was that we could do many different things. And I'm kind of a little bit my interest is very varied, but I want to promote Japan overseas. So we set this up in 2006, and now we have a number of brands that we work across 3 countries. I basically, once a week, I go to India. The next week, I'm in Singapore, and next week, I'm in Japan. And sometimes I come back to Japan for a day, sometimes for 3 days, and it's actually quite hectic, but it's very exciting, very, very exciting, because India is, I think, the next growth story. And I'm very excited because I've been in India for about 4.5 years, and it's very rewarding, it's fun, and it's just happening. So we have a few different brands, and I think you can see there's a Binde Dranda. This is actually a publishing checklist, travel checklist that we do. Espressivo is a design, editing operation. Umaide is a small restaurant we do in Tokyo once a month, which opens only on Sunday, and it has only 18 seats. And that's to promote Japanese Tohoku food, actually. Like September, we had a full course of uni. And then you get drunk with Japanese sake and wonderful uni. And then at the end, when you're drunk, you take uni back on a Sunday night. So Monday morning, you can have uni in the morning. And then in October we had a very interesting one, which is hotate, is scallops. So we had scallops, full course scallops. November is oyster from Tohoku, and December is kani. So it's crab. Anyway, we do have many things, but the main business actually is in India. And we have a brand called Maido India, means hello India. And Maido is in the business of food. So we do actually a lot of work for Kikkoman. We actually import a lot of food. We actually also do sushi and more, which is India's first sushi takeaway in a very small area in South Mumbai, which is doing extremely well. The average price of sushi and more per transaction is 1,500 yen for a bentoya, which is probably unbelievable. Yeah. And then White Spark, which is a design agency. We have a design division, because if you are to communicate Japanese contents well, you have to be able to package it well and to be able to communicate it well. I think we heard some people, experts, speak about communication. Then recently in Singapore, we set up a cafe called Feel Japan Cafe and Shop. So until now, I think when Japan promotes itself, it's like art, or it's like fashion, or it's like technology. So the idea was try to bring a few things together, like food, design, animation, events, culture. So we set up something in Singapore on the 17th of October, which is actually it's actually right in front of Marina Bay Sands, actually, just next to Ma Lion, actually. I'm gonna see you in Singapore also there, hopefully. So that's the sort of things that we do. And if you can maybe, do I have, okay. Okay, so yeah, Maido India distributes Japanese food and sake. We do design for Kikkoman, Toto. We do a lot of work for METI, JNT or JTA. We do a lot of projects to promote Japan and India, to get the rich Indians to come to Japan. They all enjoy, all my friends and journalists, fashion designers who I've brought, they're instantly hooked on Japan. And it's a very good thing, because they become brand ambassadors for Japan. Then we also work for Jetro, doing antenna shops, promoting Japanese food. I'm kind of big into education. I think if you want to promote sushi, you have to promote quality sushi. So we do sushi contests, we do washoku festivals. Last year we had 1,200 people come to our washoku festival. We promote Japanese hygiene standards. I think when we talk about coolness after this, what is cool really? I think there's so many multifaceted aspects of cool. Maybe hygiene is one, service is another, fashion is one, culture is one. So there's a lot of things. And we also assist Japanese companies enter the Indian market. Sorry. So yeah, we promote Japan in Singapore. It's a pop-up cafe and shop. So it's only operational until March, but it's just like a test concept. It's promoting Japanese food, anime, sake, etc. And it's also part of the Cool Japan initiative. Yeah, so if you're in Singapore anytime soon, which presumably you may be, please drop by. Oops. And then we do this travel books, which is called the Been There, Done That travel book, which won the Good Design Award last year. So it's basically a checklist of all the countries you have been to, or wish you want to go, you've been, or etc. Then we actually made a Japan checklist. So anybody who wants to come to Japan can look at this checklist, says, I can do tea ceremony in Japan, or I can go to a geisha bar, or I can do karaoke. There's actually so much to do in Japan. There's 47 prefectures of Japan. There's hundreds of brands of hotels, restaurants, etc. So there's a checklist that we did, and it's doing very well. And next week in Singapore, I'm launching an anime checklist, which is a list of all of the prominent classical anime, together with some anime songs and famous, maybe you're on the list, I don't know. And then we're also launching a Barcelona edition. So that's what we do. And then we also, one thing we do is we're a sponsor of a F3 Japan team. Now, I don't drive actually. I don't know how to drive, but I don't have a driver's license. Yes, I guess so. But I don't know how to drive, but actually I was hooked on to racing when I went to F1 a few years ago, because you know, it's the passion and sort of this, you know, you all start in the same line, but then it's like business also, you know, after 21 laps or 61 laps or whatever what laps it is, so different. But this team that I support is a Japanese team. It's actually 3BON, which is one of Japan's most successful seichakuzai bond companies. And it's, they're really, you know, the amount of work that they put in, it's quite amazing. The sort of, you know, every team, every country has its amazing potential, but I feel that this team is quite cool because it's not a Honda team or a big team, but they have a very small budget. And they're really passionate about it, and they can engineer, and they have the good Japanese team spirit. So they've won this year's F3, and they're going to Macau the week after next. But it's also just, you know, there's so many cool aspects, so it's very difficult to define. But even in motoring, I feel that how the 3BON team has done it this year has been quite cool, and actually they're going to compete as a Japanese team in Macau this year, which is exciting. So I think that's about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Harry-san. I'm going to give all of you a very simple question, simple but important question. What is your definition of the coolness of Japanese contents?
There's many elements in definition, I feel. First of all, you know, traditionally speaking, you know, I think Japan has a really special country to live closely with nature. So when we think of ecology, I think you know, Japan has a deep, you know, spirit and philosophy to the ecological idea with a sophistication and sensibility. This is one of you know, cool part of Japan, I feel. And secondly, you know, at the same time, we produce many avant-garde, you know, spirit like Comme des Garçons and Issey Miyake. And this avant-garde, you know, spirit is respected very highly in a Western country, I feel. That's what I feel. And also at the same time, pop culture, like, you know, Danny-san's culture. We produce something that Western people cannot produce, I feel. For example, the photographer Araki. You know Araki? You know, I know one of a German curator. He screamed when he saw his photography for the first time. This is meta-porno. That's something that we cannot produce. It's a ukiyo-e country's production. We respect it. So I think that Japan has such, you know, strong, you know, contents and identity. When I think of a cool Japan, I want to take it as I want to think about it with a, you know, kind of three-dimensional point of view, like you know, vertically speaking, in the past, what happened in the past, and what's happening in present age, and then what will happen in the future, and what happened in the past. As you know, after the Second World War, the society rushed to economical growth, as you know. So the culture has been respected less, I think, less than economy. So, you know, the position, what happened later is the position of a culture has been not so high, I felt. That's what I felt. So there's some episode here. I have many friends among artists and designers, and when they go out of Japan and visit some countries in Europe or America, you know, people ask them, "What are you doing?" And they answer, "I'm fashion designer," or "I'm an artist," or "I'm an architect." And they said, "It's great. You're an artist, or you poet. It's a great job. Your life is great. I respect you." But when they come back to Japan, what happens? You know, people ask you, "What are you doing?" "I'm a painter," or "I'm an artist." "Oh, it's not a job. It's a hobby." So what is your real job? You know, one, you know, artist visited taxation office and a bank. They cannot, you know, communicate with the officers because it's a job. It's a hobby, not a job. So, you know, it tells something, you understand. But now it's changing drastically changing. Now we have a governmental, you know, project like Cool Japan. Especially younger people adore to be an artist or a designer. So it's drastically changing. And I believe in the future, this creativity and artistic mind and spirit will support Japanese society a lot, like a Fukoku Kyogei. And also, when we think of, you know, parallelly, you know, globalization and locality, this balance is important. If we want to be global, I think we should be local more and we should keep our identity more. Now is the time for us to think about identity, Japanese identity of Cool Japan. Yeah.
Well, surprisingly enough, she talked many things about what's good about Japan, and that was common with the discussion, the soft power session in the morning had, such as diversity, globalization and locality, and strong affiliation or association with the nature. All those themes actually come up, and you were not there. But
sorry, I was not there. But
yeah, but that shows that those are the really core elements.
Sure, I'm sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, how do you think about the question, Dani-san?
Cool stuff about Japan.
Yes.
So
what's the essence of coolness?
the essence of coolness. I don't know if this is going to answer it, but I discovered Japanese culture back in the UK. This is about 20 years ago, through games and through anime. And there wasn't any internets back then, but they had this little shop in London, Piccadilly, called the Japan Center, and I would go there and pick up magazines and discover more and more about Japanese culture. And so particularly anime culture. And when I came to Japan, it's all over the place. And so most Japanese folks, they're actually brought up on a diet of anime and manga since they were very young. And they continue to consume that up to quite an old age. And the thing is, back in England, folks who I don't know, maybe Star Wars or some cartoon, they consume up to a certain age, I don't know, maybe 12 or so. And then they basically stop consuming because they're worried about what their friends think or whatever. But in Japan, it's very normal, folks, 30 or 40, to continue to consume anime culture and so on and so on. So there's actually many companies out there who actually produce merchandise for folks who are now 30 years old or so, who used to enjoy a particular anime when they were a kid, but now they've got money to buy expensive merchandise and so on. So for me, one of the really cool things about Japan is that, especially because I do like anime culture, is that it's everywhere. I mean, you go to the doctors, there's lots of tie-ins with anime and doctors or anime and medical. Anna, they've got these planes and it's covered with Pokemon. And so there's lots of tie-ins with the industry. So very recently there's Pot Noodle, Nissin, and Gundam. So being able to see that as a fan in everyday life is it's kind of cool.
So you're saying that we can keep being a kid?
Yeah. Another thing about that I was surprised is when I first came to Japan, I saw these business folks in suits, right, and on the train, and they whip out their phone, and it's got a little very cute character hanging from their phone strap, and it's the what you would expect from evidently it shows what they really deep down inside. And I think it's great to be to have a nation who where they express what they like, rather than having to give up on what they loved since they was a kid just because of what other people think.
Great country. Yes. How do you think?
Yeah, for me, cool has maybe not only hundreds or maybe even thousands of different cool. I think that's the fact that is enigmatic, or the fact that it's fuzzy and you can't touch it. But for me, the reason why I'm in India and I'm trying to promote Japan in India is because I used to work for Richard Branson at Virgin, and then afterwards Dyson, Sojiki, the vacuum cleaner. So I used to be their marketing manager in Japan. But I kind of realized about 2003, 2004 that, well, Japan is, it's a big market, but there's actually bigger markets outside. So I kind of started walking around and I found India. But so when we do a lot of work for Menti and promoting tourism, all of that, but there's so many different parts of cool that I think that's probably the beauty of Japan. the fact that I think if I ask everybody in this room, they'll have a different cool Japan experience or story that they can tell. But actually, for me, however, it started with sushi because my first arubaito, my first part-time job was in a sushi restaurant. I mean, that's how much I love sushi. And as they say, I mean, Ikoma-san, correct me if I say wrong. I mean, the way to a man's heart is through the stomach, right? When I think of Japan, I think cool Japan starts with food. You know, food is so important, so critical, so human. I mean, everything is human. You know, whether it's entertainment or fashion or whatever the case may be. But I think there's some raw urge of the human need. I think sushi has captured the world's imagination. I mean, I'm sure 95%, if not 100% of people here would love sushi, right?
Do people in India love kaiten sushi?
Yes. We have a very interesting machine, which is a idoshiki. It's a movable kaiten sushi machine. It's like a ping pong table. So you kind of like ping pong tables, right? So it kind of opens up and folds up again. But we take it around Indian weddings, and Indian weddings, 2,000 people, 3,000 people. So there's an Italian corner, Japanese corner, the kaiten sushi corner, and then a Thai corner. It's quite fascinating. But we actually do a lot of vegetarian sushi because we feel that 70% of Indians are vegetarians. But it's actually very tasty. Actually, our sushi and more operation is really, I feel, is quite cool because it took 4 years to set up a sushi establishment in India. It's not easy doing business in India, but it's very exciting, and I think a lot of people find it cool to be able to eat fresh sushi. So just to answer the question, I think concisely, I think there's probably, if not hundreds, thousands of coolness that Japan can offer the world, and I think we're just scratching the surface. The opportunities are immense, I would say.
So then the question becomes how we can have the people in the world explore and find a really good stuff this country has. How can we help them do that? Maybe that's the next question. How do you think?
So one of the mission of Cool Japan, I feel, is to set up a certain global platform for promotion. I think where everybody from all over the country can access 24 hours, maybe on the internet, and also in the center of Tokyo. I think we need a headquarter place of Cool Japan where foreign tourists and foreign journalists can rush to get latest information on Cool Japan. Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting to the conference. Yeah, yes.
A little later, please. Thank you. Any suggestion as to that question?
Yeah, so when I discovered the Japanese pop culture, there was like no internet. Can you believe it? Being brought up without internet. And so my only access to Japanese information was through the Japan Center. So there's the Japan Center. Actually, there's another bookshop in St. Paul's called Nippon Books or something like that. And they actually rented out VHS tapes of Japanese TV recordings. So those were my only access points to Japanese culture. So I was kind of like camping outside the shop. But obviously nowadays, it's with the internet, it makes it like much more accessible to like folks around the world to discover Japanese culture. So I have like my websites, Culture Japan. I also have like other websites. There's a website called like Figure FM, for example, where like folks from all over the world, they come along and post pictures of like the bedrooms, and it's like full of anime merchandise. And so we actually worked with the readers, and we published a few books, the Otaku series, the Otaku and Cool. Otaku, yeah. And so we actually published 3 of these books, and it's through through the internet, it's really through these websites which I run. It really helps like gather people like into one place, helps them to share, and by doing that, they discover like other folks who are sharing at the same time, and they can like connect with folks within their region. So for next year in particular, I will be like expanding my online platforms to enable like more and more people around the world to be able to like share their content that they're consuming, to share the Japanese contents that they're consuming, and to enable like others to discover that at the same time as well.
Yeah, actually your website is really one of the key platforms we can have, and they're having a lot of discussions, peer-to-peer discussions about what's good about Japan between Europe and Argentina, India and Turkey, things like that. So work hard. Hari-san,
Hi, yeah. I have a very different thinking about how to promote Cool Japan. I think the young people of Japan, especially maybe university students, have to go overseas. One, to be part of the global world that we live in. This is, I think, critical for the future of the Cool Japan strategy. Because, I mean, all of us in this room are, in a sense, ambassadors of Japan. We love Japan, right? We're here. We kind of, you know, our ambassadors and all right. We go, we talk about it, we tweet about it, we go back to our countries, or we stay in Japan, talk about it, and we consume, we do all sorts of things with Japan. But I think it's the young generation which who have to actually go out and promote Japan, or they find out that Japan is cool only after they actually visit another cool country, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, that's what we try to do in our company. Every year we have a student spend 3-4 weeks in India.
Harry, can I interrupt?
Yeah, of course, by all means.
What happens actually in a younger generation in Japan is that they have a less appetite to go out of Japan.
Exactly. That is the reason why we must find a way for them to go out.
And can have a kind of a scholarship.
Sure.
For the younger generation to go to study abroad.
Yeah, maybe younger men don't have strong appetite, but the younger women have a different story.
Women have more appetite to go out.
But for in our company, we have a small company. We have 20 staff in India. But last year we had somebody from SFC and KO come for 3 weeks, and this year we had somebody from Jochi come for 3 weeks. Now their whole worldview changed after spending 3 weeks in India. But then they realized how Japan is so wonderful. Plus, then they start thinking, they also, when they were in India for 3 weeks, they say, they explain how Japanese customs are, services are, the mannerisms, the amazing fact. And then, they become natural ambassadors. So, apart from the initiative, I think that the culture has to change, where Japanese youth want to go overseas and continue to want to go overseas and make a difference in the world, maybe.
Thank you. Well, as you see, we are rather optimists, but probably we have to talk about one challenge, key challenge. Although we have so much great contents, we are not really good at doing business on that, and that's why, that's one of the reasons why we started this initiative. For example, the famous Ajisen Ramen has more than 300 restaurants in China, but it's originally from Kumamoto Prefecture, Ajisen, but the franchisee of Ajisen Ramen is making a lot of money, and the entrepreneur has become the richest food-related entrepreneur in China, while the Kumamoto-based parent company is getting only 2 億円 a year as franchising fee. That kind of things are happening everywhere. How can we tackle that problem?
Speaking of a market, for example, art, we don't have a certain great market yet, art market. So when we see the case outside Japan, like Korea or China, they're starting to have a bigger market in the art field, and they're going to have more and more art collectors. But in Japan, maybe the tax barriers, or I don't know, the conscience of consumers or art lovers, we don't have in the business strategy. We are lacking, I feel. So that's why we don't have a certain art market yet.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe even in the fashion field,
Yeah.
you talked about
branding,
Yeah.
power is. I don't think we don't have enough branding strategy and power. That's why we are here, Globis. Yeah. So many younger generation is starting to study abroad for branding and to study about branding strategies. So I think it's a good thing for them to study anyway abroad for the first, and then bring back into Japan, and then we're gonna have more business ideas.
So to develop strategists and business producers
Yeah.
rather than just
Lack of
developing
business
creators.
producers or branding producers. Or
Okay.
But just if I could just briefly add, when we were speaking the other time, that I get a lot of Japanese companies interested in going to India. Let's say we get 100. They say, oh yeah, Indo, Kaigai, Tengai, we want to produce all that. You hear that. Of that 100, maybe 3 people come to India. And of that 3, 1 person starts business in India. So I think in terms of the problem that I feel is that people say they want to do, and they want to go overseas, they want to promote their products in overseas, but there's no follow through. It's like, it's a great idea, Harry-san, but yeah, we'll come to India, they all say, right? 3 people come out of 100. And then only 1 does real investment in setting up a business overseas, or even, consistently coming to sell their miso or their soy sauce or anime goods. I feel. I mean, especially the SMEs, not the big companies, but the SMEs. I feel. So that's, I think, a big challenge that somehow the government and public-private partnership may have to work together to solve, because they have these ideas, but maybe they're too busy in Japan. Trying to firefight this and firefight that, and maybe they're they're satisfied with a very big market in Japan already. You never know.
Satisfied with the firefighting?
Maybe.
Thank you very much.